you go.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um, all right, so let's get started. Yes, welcome to ECPC. We are super glad you're here. Truly, truly, we're grateful for your family and your kiddos. We love them all already. We can go to the next one.
All right.
Most of this is you already know. We'll just go through really, really quickly. What is a co-op? Parent owned and operated. You are a crucial piece of the school. Without the parents, the school doesn't exist. It doesn't happen. The parents maintain the grounds and all of the little bits and pieces so that the teachers can really hone in and focus on the kiddos. You guys, oh, too fast, Myrini. Go back. Oh,
Sorry.
there we go. You guys work together to benefit the group, and we're run by a set of bylaws that are set in place by like real actual lawyers, and we review them every 3 years with real actual lawyers. And our handbook reflects everything that is written in the bylaws, and it's totally open. You guys are totally welcome to check out the bylaws and read them. They are really long and really difficult to get through. The handbook is where I would start. But those do exist, and we have those underlying everything we do.
Yep.
Next one,
And
Irene.
for transparency, everything you can find on our members site, including minutes to all the meetings, board meetings, membership meetings from the past. So,
The participation is super important in our co-op. It's way different from volunteering. You're actually the teachers' partners. You know, you're working with us to maintain balance and to supervise the kids again so that we can really hone in and get to know them one-on-one and spend the time that we need. Um, Being active and present for your child and other children with the teacher just creates such a beautiful environment and a place for the children to really see like, hey, this is the community, an actual community being modeled for them. And again, allows us to really do our jobs when you guys are active in participation and in your spot. Then go to the next one. We do a lot of modeling during participation and just like outside. Basically, our kids hear us talking about, I'm going to go clean ECPC. I'm going to do my family job. I'm going to, go to a meeting. And they kind of hear how we all function together. And when you're participating with us, they learn how we work together to problem solve. And they see us working with empathy together as adults, and accepting that community responsibility of all the children. And they all kind of follow that model and take care of each other and take care of, like to take care of the adults even. They kind of like to know whose adult is who and kind of check in on everybody. And if your parent isn't there, they want to know where your parent is. It becomes such a cute little unit. You can go ahead, Irene. Um, the biggest part for me of ECPC is the community, and you all make the community, like it says, we're all integral to the structure, but really the families that show up to the event, show up to the maintenance parties, show up and take the initiative. You see something broken, go get a screwdriver and screw that screw in and see and make it work again for us. It really is what you put into it, what you get out of the community. And we have lots of events that lend to that. But again, well, not all of the events are going to be for your family. Don't feel inclined to come to every single thing and do every single fundraising because it can be very, very daunting to take on. But the potlucks, show up. You don't have to bring too much, even if you bring a pack of cookies. If that's as much as you can do, great. If you want to bake something, great. We are open and available for, has however much you can give to the community. You can go on to the next one. Benefits of a co-op. You all probably know most of this stuff, which is why you are here, but you do get a voice in the school decisions. The teachers are fully focused on kids because of the high adult to child ratio. We have, between 22 to 25 kids every single day with 6 to 7 participating parents and 2 teachers. So that makes our ratio really, really low, and it makes it really possible for us to do what we do. You're directly involved in your child's experience, which was another one of my favorite parts, is watching like, oh, I know who my kid is playing with and I know who they're talking about. And I can talk to another parent and say, hey, how did my kiddo do How did they do today? Were they in the game room with you? And we made connections in those ways. Um, Parent education is a big part of the co-op as well. You know, we are going to have a Kid Power presentation in February over Zoom during our membership meeting. And parent ed is just kind of built into the philosophy of the school. We model and teach throughout the day kind of the language that we use and how we support the children. Building a strong, connected community of lifelong friendships is that's also like just a bonus. That's just a bonus.
All right, moving on.
I think someone's getting work.
Sorry. ECPC philosophy. We have a lot in our handbook about the philosophy, but we wanted to touch on it real quick. Usually it's a bigger presentation, but our goal is basically to provide a happy, safe environment, work on emotional and social development. You know, they're going to have conflicts. They're going to talk to each other and they're going to be very confused why the other kid is saying the thing they're saying. And we're there to provide guidance, as well as, creative activities, interesting materials. The teachers create the environment to suit what the children need. So we kind of follow their lead, right? If there's a kid who really likes astronauts, we set up an astronaut station. If there's a kid who's really into bugs, I take out all the bugs and we get the books out and we read about them. And we really encourage all of their interests and all of the ways that their little brains deviate. We really want to know who they are. And that's where our material comes from. And we build a strong adult community to support the children and the functioning of the school. Again, this is just more modeling for the children. They see us coming together to help the school and they want to do the same. The kids almost every day are like, oh, we got to sweep some stuff up. We got to make some signs. We got to take care of our school. So it's all really integrated in our philosophy to just take care of each other and the school. Development is individual. This is one important part we wanted to touch on. The chronological age and the developmental stage do not always match. It's a giant spectrum development. You can have a 5-year-old with typical 3-year-old behaviors, or you can have a really big child that seems like they should be capable of some things, and you find out, oh, they're only 3 years old. So when you see a child, their physical size doesn't always equal their emotional maturity. And sometimes their emotional maturity is not always going to stay constant. So basically, be ready for anything. These kiddos are going to throw us all for a loop. You're going to get things like, oh, I did not expect you to say that, in really, really interesting ways and really jarring ways. Each child is unique. Try not to compare and judge things that one child is totally capable of, the other ones may still be working on, and vice versa. There are so many different skills and they all develop at such a wide range. We try to avoid putting adult interpretations onto adult play or onto children's play, because it is, like I said, the things they should be doing. We don't really follow those things. We follow what the children are doing. And we follow their behavior and what they need based on where they are in that time. And we have space for the quiet observers, we have space for the active leaders, and we have space for everybody in between. I had one kid who would sit on the edge of the tan bark, my older daughter, and then the second one dove headfirst into the sand on her first day. So, you're going to have completely different children, even from the same families. So we're just, expect anything. All brains are different. We serve neurotypical and neurodiverse. And sometimes we don't have diagnosis. We don't have names to put on it. They just are who they are. And we take them for who they are here. I see Roberto. We do. And so we have some tips. Any questions so far about the philosophy and the development? I'm sorry, my cat is trying to eat something that he's not supposed to be eating. Any questions so far? Okay, cool. Let's go to how to talk to kids the ECPC way. So, we kind of take our philosophies from different places and kind of mesh them together into what ECPC is. Hi, Kai, you're so tall. I can see him. So we have rules. The rules are kind of for the grown-ups, but we do explain them to the kids too. They're very simple. It's about safety. Keep yourself safe, keep others safe, keep the material safe. The fourth one is a little bit more nuanced. You cannot play any game with or against someone who does not want to play. So you're a Ghostbuster. You want to get some ghost. I'm going to go up to Irene and say, you're a ghost. I'm going to get you. No, you're not. No, you're not. So you have to ask. Did you ask if they want to play that game? Did you ask if that was okay with them? And we let the kids say no. If they don't want to play that game, that's okay. Or if they're having an exclusive game with, they're playing Ghostbusters, they're really into it, and someone comes in and says, let's play a butterfly game. They're allowed to preserve the integrity of their play in a kind way and say, no, we're still playing this. Maybe we'll play with you another time. And that's where the teachers come in. That's where the adults come in, and we offer that guidance of how can we say this in a kind way? And we support the child who's been turned away or turned down, and we take them to find another activity or find a friend who maybe does want to play with them. So it's a little bit tricky and nuanced, and it feels a little bit counterintuitive to say, like, yeah, you're allowed to exclude people from play, but it is just you're allowing the children to maintain the group that they had already set in place. And we also do create spaces for inclusivity, and we also encourage, of course, like, oh, maybe we could ask, later on, maybe we could ask so and so if they want to come back and play this game since we changed it now. Let's revisit this. So we offer a lot of guidance in that respect. There's feelings. People get sad, and that's okay. And we're there to support them and help them. We help them on the adult level work through those emotions. Any questions on that one? All right. Jess?
Oh, Roberta?
Yeah, thank you. This is probably a longer discussion, but I am kind of I have a question about when you encourage kids to stretch beyond their comfort zone or to try something new, because if everything is, oh, you don't want to play it, you don't need to play it, okay, that's great. I mean, that's consent, right? But I also feel like I'd like to know what your take is on to what degree do we encourage people to try and expand themselves a bit too, because that's also growth. What's your take on that?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I try to, sorry, my cat and my child again. There's so many animals in this house. We try to give the children the autonomy to choose, right? They choose, and then I find later on that they kind of make the growth steps themselves, right? So I've noticed with certain children who are really, really specific or particular about things, and they say, no, they can't join the game. No, they can't join the game. If we kind of respect that boundary, and then as well as follow up with that child and say, like, that kid, I understand. That kid's a little bit younger. That kid is still learning. Maybe there's a way we can help them figure out, okay, maybe you don't want them to play with your building, but can we help him make a building? And kind of float the idea, never force the idea, and just kind of discuss it here and there. And then I really find that eventually I turn a corner and there's the 5-year-old sitting there with a 3-year-old helping them build something. There's the 3-year-old coming around, and I hear the 5-year-old saying, okay, you can come in. Okay, you can touch it. So that growth happens incrementally, and we just kind of offer suggestions, offer space for those moments of growth. And they do eventually come. They do show up. And those are really big moments and really actually successful, really prideful moments in, my teaching, where I think, like, okay, something is actually getting through and we're actually making progress and headway. Because forcing it is never going to be the answer. They're just going to push back against it. But when you give them the space and the autonomy to make their own choices, sometimes they see, okay, there's another way I can be inclusive. There's another way that I can help this child. And we do definitely take the bigger kids aside and have those conversations, you know, kind of sit down with them and I wonder how we could help that little one. I wonder what we could do. And kind of brainstorm in that way. So the teaching is kind of in the on the back end in that way, if that makes sense. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm sure it's an
I
ongoing.
would like to add that we're raising Lucio to be conscious more of other children than himself, because of my work with kids for like the 20 years that I've been working with a bunch of kids in my neighborhood back at home. I realized that, you know, giving is better than receiving. So that's what Jesse was pointing out, that like if there is a circumstance where Lucio needs to give in, we've been working with him, and he's been showing great signs of letting other kids have the ball, or letting other kids play with his toys and things like that. So we're okay with that, so you guys know, because we don't we want him to learn kindness by practicing kindness, right?
Yes, and yes, absolutely. And we'll get into a little bit more how we encourage, you know, like taking turns, and we don't force sharing, but like kind of how we manage that. We'll totally talk about that, because kindness is number one. We totally don't want anybody to have hurt feelings or feel rejected or feel like, hi, Michelle, it's okay. You're here.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, but we'll totally get into more of that, because that's super important to us too, to make sure that everyone's being kind.
Yeah.
Even
Making
in
sure
those
it's age
moments.
appropriate. Yeah. I was just gonna say age appropriateness for sharing, that kind of thing, like what we want to develop in this time here. Should we move
You can
on?
go to the next one, Irene.
All right, there we go.
Yes, so conflict resolutions. My number one tip is move closer. If you hear any sort of kerfuffle, even if you just feel a shift in energy, just get a little closer. Sometimes even just an adult presence will kind of notify them, like, uh-oh, you know, I better tuck it in a little bit, get it together. And check in. If you get closer and you're not satisfied or they don't stop, you know, maybe say like, hey, what's happening? What's the game? Is everybody okay with this game? Check in with them. Listen to their play and ask, you know, what's your plan? Sometimes you'll see a kid walking across the tan bark with a giant plank of wood, and you're like, what do you know? What's your plan? That's what we ask. What's your plan? There's no judgment. It's just a question. And usually they have a plan. So it's a really good question. And then if the conflict gets way out of hand, which you guys are coming in springtime, people's emotions are hot, everyone's really comfy together, there's going to be conflict. Feel free to flag down a teacher, feel free to, you know, shout, Teacher Wendy, Teacher Jenny, Teacher Kathy, and one of us can come and, you know, model for you and like kind of show you how to cope with that. But if you feel comfortable, also get after it, do it. You know, we encourage you to take the initiative with the children as well, in the ways that you can, because they learn from all of us. You can go to the next
It's a process too. Once everyone gets going, like when you start, we always say it takes 6 to 8 weeks for you to acclimate, for you and your child to acclimate. So if there is a conflict that arises, and our kids won't know you yet, so if you need help, please don't feel afraid to ask for help, because you know we want to make sure that everyone feels safe, because that we're all learning and getting to know each other. So that's the big part of it, is our kids feeling safe and your new kids feeling safe as well.
Other strategies we learned during conflict is to ignore non-destructive behavior. If, you know, someone's yelling or someone is like flinging something around, if no one's getting hurt, just let it happen. Redirection is really useful, especially for some of the younger kids. Like, you know what, maybe we can play in a different, why don't we go to a different room? And sometimes it's the teachers who are mostly doing that, because you guys are kind of rooted in one spot when you're at ECPC. So we're always happy to help with that. Find more materials. That's one thing that we always have more. We always have more of whatever a child is playing with. So if there's a specific block or a specific ball that a child wants, we can say, you know what, Lucio's using that one right now. Maybe he'll give us a turn. Maybe he'll give you a turn after. For now, here's this ball. And then we would go, you know, talk to them and have them work it out together. Hey, Lucio, do you think when you're done, you could give Calvin a turn? And then he would say, sure. Or he would say, no, I need it for 1,000 minutes. And then we would work from there, you know? So it's the kids are going to say off the wall stuff, and we got to be ready for it. But we just usually just have more things to kind of quell. And of course, there's going to be like the swings. The swings, there's only 2 of them. So we must take turns. And what we do on that is say, you know, okay, I'm going to give you 5 more pushes on the swing, and then it's going to be Ray's turn. And then if the child says, oh, no, I can't do it. Well, you know, I'm sorry, there's only 2 of them. You can come back for another turn. You know, we always offer them the opportunity to come back. You can come back for another turn. Or we give them the opportunity to give their own time limit, right? So, hey, how many more minutes do you need on the swing? And then they'll say something like 25. And you can say, okay, I set the timer for 25. And then, you know, when they're little, sometimes it works out, but they'll just wander off on their own. Usually, once they know there's a limit, they just kind of wander off. And the older kids, they kind of know the deal. So they respect that limitation. They respect like, okay, there's people waiting for the slide. Or the swing, I'm going to get off and come back another time. And again, you can totally grab a teacher. If something is not safe or you feel uncomfortable with it, feel free to stop it until you get a teacher involved. If you don't know about a game, like I had a day the other day where there was a game being played. It was like a dodgeball game. And I was like, oh, teacher Jenny, like I didn't quite know if I was supposed to be allowing it or not. You know, some of these games get kind of edgy. So feel free to like check in and also stop the game. If you feel uncomfortable with it, if someone's getting hurt, they get real rough and tumble. So feel free to just say, you know what, we're going to pause this until we can check in with a teacher. Use statements, not questions. So not, do you want to come to group time? Do you want to have some snack? It's, you know, it's group time. It's snack time. It's time to go to the bathroom. A lot of that is, you know, teacher language, but stuff that you'll pick up too. Just, you know, it's group time now, time to go to group. With direct statements, you know, they don't really think to say no. Sometimes they will think to say no. That's not true. They're going to say no. They're going to try to say no. But the questions, you know, they're a little more apt to think that that's, you know, they get more of an option. So yeah, keep it simple. As much as I'm talking, we don't talk that much to the kids at school, you know, like just as much as you can just scale it back to a few words, you know, that's not safe. We're not going to do that right now. We're stopping this game. As much as you can scale it back, the better. Just because attention spans vary, very, very much.
Yeah.
You can go to the next one, Irene. Yeah, we have ECPCism. So just it's words and language that we use really, really often. So number 1, stop it, I don't like it. My kids use this still with each other every single day. Speaking of, this is my one ECPC kid, Alice. Yeah, you can tell the kid, hey, I saw what they did. Say, stop it, I don't like it. Tell them you don't like it. And the children, it's so cute once they start picking it up because they'll just start, stop it, I don't like it. Stop, hands up, stop it, I don't like it. And you can back them up by saying, I heard her say stop. I heard her say that. And then they'll stop. Hopefully, with any luck, right? Tell them how that makes you feel. Often the children want to come to the adult for comfort, of course, right? Because we're the guidance and we're not insane. So we tell them, they tell us, you know, hey, he hurt my feelings or he hit me with a ball. And I'll bring the children back together and say, well, can you tell him? Tell him, you hit me with the ball and I did not like that. And then that, you know, gives them that communication without me being this buffer. I'm still there for moral support. We're still there as the adult, but it gives them that direct communication. Number 3, what's your plan? That's, you know, if you see a kid doing something and you want to be like, what in the world is going on right now? You say, what's your plan? What's your plan with that log? What's your plan with that giant stick? How can I help you? What do you need? Sometimes if you see a kid kind of wandering aimlessly, or you kind of think, oh, you know, they don't really know what to do with themselves. You can say like, hey, what do you need? Can I get you something? How can I help? What do you need? Check in with him to see if he's okay. So often we'll have hit and runs. Kids will run by and accidentally knock someone over or run into someone on the slide or whatever it may be. We bring that child back into the conflict and say, listen, check in with him. It seems like even if it was an accident, we have to check in and make sure they're okay. Is there anything that he needs? Is there anything that he needs? Does he need an ice pack or a Band-Aid? We just want to, we don't ever force apologies. We don't force sorries, and we really just want them to be aware of what they can do to fix the situation. So if like a tower gets knocked down and there's some hurt feelings about it, we can say like, hey, could we help them rebuild their tower, and maybe that will help them feel a little better. We do a lot of like, oh, look at their face, I see that their face is looking really sad. And so we really try to get body language awareness as well, because some of our kids aren't going to speak in a moment of conflict. They're going to back away. They're going to shut down. Ask her, can I have it when you're done? That's what I was talking about with the materials. How many more minutes do you need it, again, with the materials? So if there is a limited amount of something, you can ask the child, how many more minutes do you need it? How about 5? How about 2? Or how about 5 and then you have some snack? And so you can combine sometimes the redirection with some of these easy peasy-isms. And you'll catch on. They'll start coming out of your mouth just like second nature. And you'll be like, oh, wow, I'm really picking these things up just by being around them. You can go to the next one. Words to avoid and things to avoid. Good job is empty praise. We want the children to be proud of themselves. We want them to be proud of their efforts. They'll sometimes come up and say, what do you think about this? Do you like this art? And it's so hard not to be like, that is the most beautiful piece of art I've ever seen in my life, and you are perfect and wonderful. But we have to hold back and not give that empty good job. You can talk about the art, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, about the comments you can make versus just this empty good job. Being the center of play, you want to try to avoid being the kid's game. So like, you don't want to be mom monster or dad monster or, running the specific play. You're there to kind of help the kids get into play, get them materials, make sure that everyone's staying safe, but you want them playing with each other. You want them playing with, their age group. There are a lot of kids who are really comfortable with adults, and it's really nice. It's lovely. You're of course welcome to like talk to them, make a relationship with them, read to them. Just don't, if they come up and like punch you, you're the chocolate monster. Oh, let's find somebody else to be the chocolate monster. I'm not going to be the chocolate monster today. Kind of remove yourself from that level of play in a way that you wouldn't do with your own kids, like at home. One more, a couple more, sorry. Avoid blaming and labeling the kids. The behavior is not the kid. Again, this goes into like everyone just exists as they are. Some of the behaviors that we see, they come from being like hangry. Like it's as simple as like, I'm hungry and I'm tired and I want to go home. It can be impending sickness. It can be vaccines. It can be dad's out of town. It can be, somebody at the park earlier went down the slide first and then that hurt their feelings. These things kind of build up within the child. So whatever the behavior is, we just, like I said, accept them for who they are and what they are and kind of try to help guide them, into kindness. Cleanup for the children is encouraged, not required. So like Jess was talking about Kai making his big creations in the block loft, oftentimes we'll say, Kai, we're going to clean up the block loft, okay? Just to let him know that his car is going away. And he will, of his own volition, come in and start tidying things up and putting blocks away. And his influence has kind of led some of the other kids to do the same. So it's pretty cute watching all the kids like, I'm going to stay with my mom and clean up the block loft. Like, yeah, you are. Okay, stay in there and clean. That's nice. That's great. We encourage help. And that's kind of the community that I was talking about that we build, is that the kids want to sweep. They want to vacuum. They want to help their parents, so the burden isn't just on them alone. Which I'm sure doesn't happen that often at home because my kids don't really clean. But it's that sense of community. at ECPC. And sometimes they're not going to want to clean, and that's okay. We don't require them to clean. There are instances where, you know, like if there's a basket of toys and someone just comes and dumps it over just to dump it, I might bring that friend back and say, hey friend, we're going to help clean this up because this is just, you know, you just dumped it over. But even then I might not, because they might just be exploring. It just really depends. It's all very nuanced. So that's why we don't require cleanup from the kids. You can go to the next one. Here's the responding to children's work. We don't do like set crafts and art projects that have a specific outcome. It's all process based. It's all, you know, here's materials, here's a surface to do the materials on, and good luck with that. Do what you want to do. So when you're in art, you really want to be flexible, open to, I mean, the whole school, you want to be open to different ideas. They're going to do things that you would not have imagined them doing, and it's all mind blowing. The individual child in mind is really important. Every child has their own ability, has their own levels of, you know, artistry, has their own levels of building technique, and we just let them do what they're doing, exactly what they're doing. Avoid making models. So if you're in art, I'll use for an example, we had like a pet rock project last week. Avoid making yourself a little pet rock. It is very cute and very fun, but we don't want the kids to look at it and say, oh, my pet rock should look like that, because that's what the adults look like. So sometimes when we make a model, it can make the children feel like they're supposed to reach this level of, you know, that's what a tree is supposed to look like. That's what my cow is supposed to look like. That's what my painting is supposed to look like. And we really want to just let their minds run free. Avoid praise, describe, or ask questions. So I say, you use so much blue. Oh, you worked really hard on that. You know, really try to like emphasize the effort that they put into it. I saw you working over there. You were working over there for a really long time. You used lots of different materials in this. Tell me about it, you know, or ask them, what's your favorite part about it? Really encourage them to talk about it. And I use, oh, you must be really proud of yourself. And they oftentimes are very proud of themselves and happy to be recognized in that way. Gentle guidance and don't panic. That's, you know, in art, there's going to be paint on the ceilings and on your face and on your shoes. Don't panic. Just, you know, oh, we're going to leave the paint in this box. We are going to leave the paint on the brush. Things are going to get messy, and we just go with the flow. That being said, we do encourage productive use of the material. So like dumping, or just like coming over and mixing up all of the self-help art materials. You know, we want productive play. If you want to make something, sit with me and make something. We''ll help you make something. And most of the time, if we see that kind of play, it just means they need a little bit of teacher time. So, you know, we do that one-on-one time. We get to sit with them and say, like, you know what, I think they're needing some company. And we allow a large amount of time for them to do their art. You know, the art project is around during the floating play period of time. So it's 2.5 hours of playtime. So they can come and sit at art for an hour and a half or two, or they can never come to art. It really is, you know, up to what the children want to do. We'll go to the next one. All right, this is the nitty gritty. Yep. This is just the basic. We'll just run through. Make sure your kid's not sick. You know, the handbook has all the information about that, all of the symptoms, all of the fever protocols. If your kiddo gets sick during program, we'll definitely call you, have you come get them. And we monitor for that, obviously, just to make sure everybody's like on the up and up and feeling good and happy to be there. Only adults may put in the gate code and open the gates at arrival time. So please come right at the start of your program. So AM, that's 8:30, PM, it's 1. We have the teachers setting up beforehand, and we have a lunch program. So just right on time is good. The kids shouldn't play with the key codes or play with the handles or anything. And then the door has the 2 handle system with the top latch. It's a little sticky. Just make sure when you close it, it latches on the top. You come in, wash your hands before you play, sign in on the clipboard. We kind of went over this stuff at the intakes. notify about pickup and drop off, and then belongings in the cubby, water bottles on the shelves. Next one, my friend. Absences, if your kid's not coming, we like to know. It's me. We like to know. You can either call us on that phone number or shoot us a text or an email, just so we know if one of our kiddos isn't coming. We kind of tend to worry. There's no like attendance rules or anything. We just want to make sure everybody's okay. What to bring? Teacher Jenny and Teacher Kathy probably gave you this information. For the cubby, you bring your cubby stuff, lunch, water bottle, extra clothes. I would recommend like shoes, lots of socks, lots of undies, definitely jackets, because it gets kind of cold in the back and kind of hot in the front. Sometimes when the weather heats up, we do some water play, and some parents like to bring like swimwear. So if you wanted to pack that, that would be cool also. Please try to label everything, water bottles too, and jackets especially. Labeling shoes would be cool, but most of the time they recognize their shoes. But they don't seem to know what their jackets look like. So we need some help in that regard. Yeah, so labels everywhere. Labels are great. You can go to the next one. Departure. So you just come through the front, pick up your kid's stuff, sign out on the clipboard. So it's kind of a straight shot right through. Come in through the gate, you can check the injury clipboard, make sure your kiddo's good. AM, it's a little different. You sign out at the back gate for Bo's family. But for the rest of everybody, you sign out right there. Grab your water bottles and your belongings. Come through the cubbies, check for art, wet clothes, shoes, and then head out the back gate by your designated pickup time. So if you come about 10-15 minutes early to try to make sure you have enough time to gather all your stuff and rinse off dirty feet and go potty and grab all the art, and just give yourself some buffer time. I'll go to the next one. Because I have my earphones in. Parent participation guidelines. Arrive on time. You sign yourself in as well as your kid. So you'll sign your kid in, and then you go around the corner for PM. I think we showed you all. You go around the corner for PM and sign in, and then the AM sign in is by the office. Grab your job card. The kids kind of know who's participating based on the job card. They see the string, they see the card, they're like, okay, that's a grown-up that's working here today. And you all review the job card a little bit that has information on it regarding the schedule of the day, and then emergency procedures on the back. Dress appropriately. So if you know you're going to be in art, don't wear your nice slacks. If you know you're going to be in tan bark, dress, bring a hat, sand tube, be ready to get dirty. Put away your cell phone. We like pictures a lot. We love pictures. And of course, if you have like an emergency phone call or something at work, we're happy to take you off the floor and give you time to do that. But mostly we'd like you to be super present and available for the kids when you're with us.
I was just going to say, Wendy, that also, if you want to review the job cards, they're all on the member site. Lots of good information on the member site.
Important, stay in your area. A kid or a teacher will come cover your area. If your kid needs you to go look at their art, you can go look at their art. If your kid wants you to run around the tan bark, you can go run around the tan bark. We're really, especially like in these beginning weeks, we want your kids and you to feel like, you can move about the cabin normally and feel comfortable, and that you're going to be there for them even when you're participating. So a teacher will come cover your area if you need a break to go with your kid, or if you need to go to the restroom or get a snack. Please return to your area to eat your snack and keep the coffee and tea up high. The teachers are always available, we're always going to be there with you. So if you have a question, nab us. If we're in the backyard, if we're in group time, if we're changing 3 diapers, lean on your team. You're going to have a group of participators that you're with every single week. And these people you're going to see every week in the rotation with you. So most of them have been here for a while, at least through the beginning of the year. Some of them 2 years, some of them 3. Reach out for those participators. Ask them, where's the Swiffer? Where do we keep the Clorox? How do I find this? What am I supposed to be doing now? That was, a number one thing that I did when I started, was just like cling on to the second year mom I met And I said, tell me everything so that I don't do anything wrong. And everyone is going to be happy and willing to point you towards the mop rags and the trash bags. Next one. I see you. We support the children's exploration. So we, you know, supervise, watch, keep adult comments about children's work limited. We don't want to judge what they're doing. Keep out of the way of children's play. Yeah, your job is just get more materials, keep the area safe and tidy, offer limited assistance. One big thing about participation, clean as you go. Clean as you go, because every single spot is going to get messy and crazy. And we like it to be inviting for when the next kids come through the room. Because with that 2.5 hours of play, they do move around a lot and people come and do things and then leave. So feel free to clean up creations in between, and keep the space inviting. You can go next, Irene.
Teacher Wendy, quick question.
Yeah.
In the kind of library area, I know generally not adults not being the center of play, but what are your guidelines around reading for kids in that space?
Yeah, we have to read to them. That is vital. That is like, we will be the center of the reading. Yes. We encourage, sit on the couch, get in the comfy seat, get surrounded by kids. And that will often be the scene, is we'll come around the corner and there's 15 kids surrounding an adult reading. Actually to the point where they get stuck there with piles and piles of books. So for that instance, it's great and amazing. And also feel free to take a break. Also feel free to say, you know what, I need a drink of water and I'll be right back. I see that, my love. I see that. You know, feel free to read as much or as little as you like. Definitely though, offer to read anytime. If any kid comes and picks up a book, I'm always like, you want me to read it? And they're usually like, no, I just want to look at this. You know, I'm looking at the pictures, but totally reading is, and of course, like having conversations about, you know, like like Lucio was talking about the anglerfish. Yes, we are going to discuss these anglerfish, you know, like that's amazing. Totally have those discussions. It's more about making yourself, you know, I'm the anglerfish and I'm going to get you. You know what I mean? Making yourself more of the center of attention of the play. Is more what. That's a great question though. Thank you for asking. Yeah, more guidelines. Keep your focus on watching the kids. Game starts to get edgy, stay nearby or step in. Don't feel uncomfortable putting, you know, your body in between physical conflict if you have to. It probably won't happen very often, but if it starts getting riled up, you can squat down in between them and put your hand gently on both of them. You know, hey, I'm here for both of you. Let's talk about this. If a kid gets hurt, definitely tell the teacher so that we can write it down and or inform the parents about injuries. You can go next. Here. Oh, yes, Kurt.
Sorry, I had it on mute. Whenever we're working a station, say like art station, or the kids they create anything, like I'm assuming like the idea is to try to make sure like that gets into their cubby for their parents, or like
that's a great question.
You're at a station, they do a drawing, you know, it looks super cute, and like I don't, you know, like we don't want to like to be thrown away, like making sure that gets like passed along. Like,
yes, totally. That's vital. That's very important. We have an easel set up in the art station, as well as the normal the art project that we have set out, and we have drying racks. And typically what happens is the next program will kind of roll those things up with like if they're paintings or something that needs to dry, and stick them in the kids' cubbies. So if you happen to see somebody making an art or a painting on the easel, you just scribble their name on it, and then you can hang it up or put it on the rack, and then it'll end up in their cubbies. Either by the PM program for the AM or AM for the PM. We kind of back each other up in that way, and make sure everybody gets their stuff. Very important. Anything else? Help prepare your kid. It's hard when you're working at ECPC, and you can't really move as freely as your child is used to. So, you know, you can explain to them ahead of time, I'm working here today, I'm helping your teachers My job is to be here in the block, and I'm here to help all the kids. That's something that's a big adjustment for kids too, is my parent is not my own right now, and I have to share them. And we're willing to support that and help you with that. And, you know, whether that means, you know, coming in and saying, hey, kiddo, come in with me to your kid so that you can get a little breather, or, you know, letting you take that space with your kid and supporting the area so that you can have that time with them to help them acclimate and adjust. Be consistent with your routines. I found kind of keeping it to a regular, like we do something fun in the morning, then we have lunch, then we have ECPC where I drop you off. It was really nice to keep us in the rhythm of things. Be patient with your child and yourself. It is the first time that you're doing something big like this. Both of you are doing, all of you are doing something really big. You're not going to get it right every time. I don't get it right every time. Teacher Jenny doesn't get it right. We're all learning, and the kids are going to be who they are and make mistakes and learn and grow. And so are we. So we just have to give ourselves some space and some grace in that regard. Don't be too hard on yourself for if you get frustrated with your own kid for clinging on you in your area. That's frustrating. That makes sense. It's okay. It's okay. Again, your kid comes first. If they need you, we'll let you run off and help your kid. It says briefly, you know, just so you're not gone for half an hour. But, you know, if you need to go to the bathroom or if they need you to sit at snack, we're happy to, you know, cover you for any of that stuff. It's your child comes first in feeling safe and trusting in the environment. You can go next, Amy. On-call or sub, there's some information about this in the handbook, but I wanted to touch on it real quick. If you can't come in on your participation day, you have to find a sub. So you can send out an email to the AM listserv or the PM listserv, depending on your program. So if you know in advance, okay, I'm not going to be able to make my February 12th participation day, you can send out an email. Hey, can anybody sub for me February 12th? Sometimes people switch. Sometimes people just pay. There is a sub fee listed in the fines and fees sheet, and that is just between parents. We don't have anything to do with that. You just put the money in the parent pocket when people sub for you. The sub is for, like, you know, if you know in advance, there's a sub list that you can add your name on. Say if you're available every single Monday, you can put your name there. Say someone needs a sub on Monday, they call you first. Hey, Kurt, can you sub for me on Monday? And you could say, no, I cannot. Not this Monday. I'm sorry. Maybe next Monday. No. And that's okay. You can say no if you're on the sub list. So like Michelle, you have your Fridays that are like you could say no if somebody called you on the Friday when you were working. The on-call is not that way. On-call, every family must put their name down at least for one day, and where they're available to come in case of an emergency. Kid wakes up sick, your tire blows out, you don't have childcare for your other kid, you call that on-call person and they're ready to come in for you. And vice versa, you'll be ready to come in on your on-call day. For the record, it doesn't happen super often, but it does happen. And there's more information in the parent handbook. I won't go too long about this stuff, but just know that if you need coverage, there is coverage for you. And then this is just going to be like the play, you know, like the areas we already kind of went through. I want to touch on snack the most, just to make sure everyone knows a healthy nut-free snack of protein, veggie, fruit, and grain. We want to make sure we hit all of these things. We try to stay away from lots of sugar, we don't want any juice. There are times when we'll like allow like an occasional treat, but usually we float that through the teachers first. And for like birthdays, we don't do any edible treats. We just do like, you know, stickers or little knickknacks that you can give out at the end of the day. Floating snack time is 9:15 to 10:30 in the morning and 1:45 to 3 during PM. The kids can choose when they come to snack. That being said, there's usually a teacher, usually me in the afternoon, coming around kind of selling snack, telling them like, hey guys, let's not get too hungry. Let's go eat. There's carrots, you know, trying to sell them on it. So we try to make sure that every kid does eat snack. It's not just like only left up to them, because if we did that, none of them would eat and then we would all melt down. It takes place outside. And yeah, snack is one of the 6 rotations that you'll do every 6 to 7 weeks.
I just want to point out it's 8:30 now, and I want to
Mhm.
check in on everybody, make sure that they have time. We have maybe about 10, 15 minutes more. Is everyone good to keep going just for a little bit longer? Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, and
Sorry.
feel free to hop off too. We've
Well,
already gone
yeah.
through all of the
If you need to
areas
do
multiple times.
bedtime, yeah.
But this is
Definitely.
just, a little bit extra.
Mhm.
More about check
Yep.
the labels. I
Yeah.
did want to talk a little bit about the nuance
I
of
gotta go with the bow right now, so I'll see y'all
okay,
around and I'll see you at the school.
bye, thank you.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
Am I going to the school tonight?
No, not today.
If something is processed on shared equipment with nuts, that cannot come in, cannot be used. But if it is in a facility that also processes nuts, then that's okay, as long as the equipment is not shared. We also want to keep in mind the alternatives for dairy, because we do have a dairy-free kid in the PM. No almond for those dairy-free alternatives, because it's one of those most common ones. So soy and oat work really well. Snack is always preceded by art. So when you're in art, snack is next week. That's a really good way to remember it. Lots of info in the parent handbook about it, including sample menus. You can be as intricate or as simple as you like. You can make quesadillas, you can use the stove and the oven, or you can just bring, like I did, strawberries, cucumbers, crackers, and call it a day. It's really as much as you want to do. And then the grown-ups can have sugar and chocolate and treats and all those good things. Yes. Grown-ups, yes. Kids, no. But grown-ups, yes. You can go to the next one. Outdoor play is available every day. Oh yeah, we need rain gear. So if it's raining or you think it might rain, rain boots, raincoat. We will encourage it as best as we can. They might not listen. They might go out anyway. So extra changes of clothes are great. The block loft, that's where we do our really big building, dramatic play. A lot of the time the game room and the block loft work together, and the babies kind of migrate into the loft, and that's totally allowed. We let those rooms kind of merge into a bigger dramatic playroom. The materials kind of switch every once in a while. The teachers will come through and feel the urge to move all the dolls, so we do that and bring in some blocks, and so the materials rotate all the time through this room, which makes it extra dynamic. We'll go to the next one. Dramatic play and game room. We have puzzles, games, and the kids can ask. There's the cabinets on the side. I don't know if we open them during your tours, but there's the cabinets on the side, and one of them is full of puzzles and one of them is full of games. And in that case, with a game, if you take it down, you would be leading a little bit. You would be saying, "Hi, Lucia." You would be saying, okay, here's the rules of the game, or how do we want to play this game? Sometimes they don't want to play the rules of the game. Fine, whatever. That's less for you to do. But sometimes they do kind of want that leadership and guidance in terms of how the game is played, and you will have to circumvent. Some kids are going to jump in the middle of the game, and you're going to have to say, well, you can play the next round. We're playing this game now. You can play the next one. And then the puzzles too, sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you can get a puzzle down and just kind of start putting it together, and the kids might get interested in it. And most of them already know that those cabinets are up there, so they will ask you to open it up and get them what they want. And they know that the cabinets are not for kids. It's for grown-up access only. You can go to the next one. Art. Oh, there's my baby in the yellow. We have 1 to 2 art projects indoors, and we have an entire tough art shed full of stuff. So we just did the burlap stitching today, actually. We have all kinds of watercolor, we have screen prints, we have everything under the sun. So they get a lot of variety. We start experimenting with hot glue. We start experimenting with building and screws and hammers and nails. It gets into pretty big art. Creation Station is self-help art. They can kind of go there and create whatever they want. We keep cardboard and paper and all these little random bits and bobs with tape and glue and markers, and they kind of get in there and kind of make their own things. Like building cities. Somebody made a wood chipper the other day, and they'll come to the art person or a teacher and say, I need a cardboard box, and we make it happen. I need a piece of fabric, and we make it happen. So whatever creation they dream up in the creation station, if we have it, we're gonna bring it out to them. So it's a really great place for, especially the bigger kids. You just see their minds exploding and just like really putting together these big ideas. It's a really cool spot. Outdoors, sand and tan bark, those are, our biggest areas. You see them right when you walk through the door. Right now we do have the magic forest and the igloo and the sand, but once those are gone, that's a super big play space, really big for them to dig and create, aqueducts and dams and all of this big infrastructure, which they're really going to start to ramp up because the weather's going to start getting nice. And you can see they're soaking wet. So even in the rain, we will go in the sand. So when you participate, if it's a rainy day, be ready for that. Like full rain suits have appeared. Outdoor art, there's usually 1 or 2 special projects happening every day where they can paint boxes. We like tilt up the table and they do ball art. It's, we dream up these ideas and they go to town on them every single day. So there's multiple places to experience art in the school, so they don't even have to dip into the art room if they don't want to. And a lot of kids don't really ever go in there. So the outdoor art really gives them an area to explore. Yep, messy. We are messy. Everything is messy. You're gonna get dirty. I spilled hot pink paint on my brand new shoes. It all happens. It's just you're gonna be a mess and your kid's gonna be a mess. And I kind of miss all of the sand being in my minivan now. Now that they're bigger, I kind of miss the boots getting dumped out in there. So just
I miss the little pile of rocks that I used to have, emptying their pockets and the pile of rocks next to the door.
And the sticks. Yes.
The sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything's gonna be a mess. And we love it. We have special events. The firefighters come, the vivarium, the insect zoo comes, and we participate in that, and we talk about, we prepare in advance for those things. All the enrolled kids are invited to attend, even if they're not there for the day. So if you don't come on Wednesdays and this happens on a Wednesday, you're more than welcome to come in and visit with whoever's coming.
You'll
and
get
we'll
an
give
email.
We'll give you more than enough notice. Share your special skills. We have dancers, we have, yogis, we had a vet who helped the children learn how to do casts on their stuffed animals. So if you have something you want to share with the kids, bring it. We want to be part of it. We have a family in PM who's her grandpa's a drummer. So at our end of year party, we just had this big drum party. We love to incorporate the families, and the children are so proud when they bring in their parent and they're like, look, my parent is doing a thing. They're so excited, and it really gives so much ownership to the space. And it's so fun for the parents. Look at them. They're so happy. Birthdays, this pertains to a couple of you already. Your kid can choose if we celebrate their birthday or not. Some kids don't want the fanfare, fine. Some kids want the fanfare, also fine. We sing 3 songs, we lift them up in the chair, and the amount of years they are old. So if you're 5, you go 5 and then 1 for good luck. We make a birthday book during art for kids' birthdays. So everyone's welcome to come make a page for the birthday person, whether that's scribbles or a robot in outer space or a volcano or, a tornado, whatever it is, they can come and make a book for their child to commemorate their birthday. And then we read it in front of everybody. And then you can bring up a birthday favor to be given at the exit. It's just like a very sweet little way we acknowledge the birthdays. But again, it doesn't have to happen if your kid is like, oh, don't look at me and I don't want to do it. We've had kids like that, and that's totally cool.
All right.
And then
rounding out the night.
This is it. Yes, the members only site is like number one. Everything that I've said, everything that you may have forgotten, everything that I haven't said is on that website. Please take the time sometime when you're doing nothing to just scroll through, check it out, click on everything, click on the campfire songs, see what everything's about. And if you have questions, you can totally email Irene or email one of us, or even ask one of your teachers when you get to school. It has all of the board information and contact information, the teacher information. The members only site has an AM and a PM section. So you can see those job cards. You can see the activity calendar coming up for the next month. The directors set up the activity calendar so you can see what the art projects are coming up and what the birthdays are. And yeah, everything is basically there that you might ever need. So that's super, super important. Any questions? That was so much. Yes, welcome. Thank you so much for sitting through that extra.
A lot.
Extra.
Good job, Wendy. Good job. I can say
Yes, thank you.
that.
Yeah, we did. I'm in
Yeah.
this picture too. You can see me with my son. Yeah, my little baby.
Oh,
face.
yeah. Where are you? You're right.
I'm
Right
no,
here.
right
There
there.
you
There
are.
you are. Circle me. Yep, there I am.
I got you.
Yeah, that was many moons ago. My children are not
Yeah.
that little.
And you all are part of the social listserv now too. So you've been added to that. So if you have any questions for other members, like recommendations, pediatricians, I know Sheila, you'd ask that.
Yeah.
Anything like that, recommendations you want to buy, sell, trade, anything, meetups at the library, at Cerrito Vista, try a new restaurant, you want to recommend it to people, that's the place for that. So yeah, take advantage of the social listserv. Did you have a question, Michelle?
Actually, no, I'm good. I know I missed.
Awesome.
I'm sorry that I was late. It was 20 minutes late. I don't know if I missed anything that was vital, but I don't have any questions right now, and I do